and welcome to News Kids Can Use, the show about all the weird, wacky, and straight-up strange things that have been making your grown-ups freak out about the news lately. I'm Emin Rogers.
And I'm Tori Ogawa.
And we have an exciting and very serious sometimes episode for you today, so let's get started. Our first headline today is the Stop Line 3 protests, which are big protests against a big oil pipeline expansion project that runs through northern Minnesota and into Wisconsin from Canada. It is a problem because it runs through several treaty lands, which between the Dakota and Anishinaabe nations, which have been agreed upon for centuries that the people can hunt and fish there. It also runs through the headwaters of the Mississippi River, which is a real concern for conservationists and everybody who wants clean drinking water.
April 22nd was Earth Day, the day where we renew our commitment to helping our planet through education and action, so that we aren't harming or hurting our planet even more than we already have. And the theme for this year's Earth Day is Restore Our Earth.
Yeah, so we thought maybe you might need some ideas for what you can do. Maybe you could start a compost bin. Maybe you could add rewards around the house for when you turn off lights when you leave the room. Maybe you could keep your thermostat a little bit lower because it's getting warmer now and you just don't need it to be as hot in your house. Talk to your parents and see what would work for you. And then finally, if you want to do things on a broader scale than just your house, you can also look back at our episode from February 17th, in which we talked to kids from the South Kitsap Sunrise Movement, and they have lots of great ideas that you can do to help our Earth.
In other news, a volcano erupted on the island of St. Vincent in the Caribbean. Many people had to leave their homes, and some cruise ships and neighboring islands have agreed to take people in and help them out if they have the COVID vaccine. A lot of the island is covered in ash and has their power out right now. There are relief efforts to help the island get back to where it needs to be. So on today's big deal, we are talking about a serious and difficult topic again. So if you do need to pause and go get your grown-up, please go ahead and do that right now. We have a special guest here, Priya, our colleague, who helps facilitate the Anti-Racism Learning Circle, and we thought she would be a great fit to help us talk about this difficult subject.
Yes, exactly. And what we are talking about today is police violence, which is something that's been in the news a lot lately because of not only the murder case of Derek Chauvin, which has been going on in Minneapolis courts, but also because of several high-profile police killings that have gone on in Minnesota, Illinois, Ohio, and Indiana during the last few weeks. So first of all, to understand kind of the history of this whole thing, we need to do another quick history lesson, starting way back in the beginning of our country when there weren't really formal police departments. And for a long time, there weren't formal police departments because they weren't really super duper necessary. They were just volunteers called the Night Watch. And then after cities got bigger and they needed more people to do this as like an actual job, those police departments were funded by basically whoever was rich around there. And the thing is, in the South, the people who were rich often owned slaves. So they were charging their police departments with tracking down people of color and bringing them back, sometimes brutally and violently, to slavery, which is also brutal and violent. So while the institution of policing hasn't always been exactly about racialized violence, it definitely has some roots in some really problematic practices.
Now, the police have kind of picked up this model to protect and to serve, which really covers what we've all been taught about police and how they are out there to protect us and to serve us and to keep us safe. But the question has often been, who are they really protecting and serving when people of color are being targeted more often and persecuted more than white people?
So that brings us to the current day. Several years back in 2013, we saw the founding of Black Lives Matter, which is a social movement created by 3 Black women organizers, Alicia Garza, Patrice Cullors, and Opal Tometi. And it was created in response to the acquittal of Trayvon Martin's murderer, George Zimmerman. It was a member-led network of chapters across the world, and they're really active in organizing and leading some of the protests that we see to the current day.
Now, in present, this has all come up really big in the media and across the nation because of one case that happened in May 2020. In Minneapolis, Minnesota, a man named George Floyd was arrested, and a police officer had him in handcuffs, but then pressed his knee onto George Floyd's neck for a long time, and it killed him. This is something called deadly force, which can only be used if the police officer or someone else is in danger. Otherwise, it is illegal and not okay for officers to do. So since Mr. Floyd was in handcuffs and subdued, there was no reason for the officer to do this and to kill him.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a huge deal because police officers, as we'll talk about in a second, don't often get in trouble even when they actually do something wrong. And in this case, Derek Chauvin, who is George Floyd's murderer, was found guilty on 3 different types of murder charges. So he is, in fact, going to be punished for having done something wrong.
So one of the reasons why the results of this case were so monumental is because it's not the result we usually see with cases like this. For one thing, many of these cases are tried in court with prosecutors who already work with the police officers who are on trial, which to some people seems kind of unfair. That's like playing a game of baseball where your best friend is the umpire. If you do something wrong, they might not call you on it, even if they should. And they might not even know that they're making that decision in your favor. It just doesn't consciously click. So seeing a result like this was a really big thing that is not super common. In the anti-racism learning circle that I help facilitate, last year we had a session where we talked with a few local police officers, which was a really cool experience to hear from them directly. And they were really open about some things they can do better to work with and work for our communities of color. One of the things they mentioned was just having better opportunities for implicit bias training. You may have heard that term already. It's just being aware of the biases that you have deep inside that you might not know are there that disproportionately impact communities of color. Another thing they mentioned was developing better relationships with communities of color so that they can understand the people they're working for, do better outreach, get to know individuals and the culture of the area, and also recruit people of color so that the police force accurately reflects the community that they're serving. And then another point they made was just having stable sources of funding for positions that can help the police do their job better. That gives them a different perspective so that they can be more sensitive to the people they're responding to and hopefully end up with far less cases of violence when there doesn't need to be any.
So all these things are really things to think about and moving forward. And the work is never done to stop police violence because these incidences keep happening, as a lot of us have seen in the news recently. But for those kids out there and for our grownups too, remember that it's never okay to hurt people. That's the big takeaway here, that police shouldn't be hurting people. We shouldn't be hurting people. It's just not okay to hurt people, even if we disagree about something. And for our kids, if you feel unsafe or if you feel sad or uncomfortable or hurt by these things, talk to your grown-up, talk to your friends, talk to someone you trust about it, tell them how you're feeling, and you guys can talk about these topics and learn ways to overcome whatever emotions you're feeling. And remember to take care of yourself. Take a break, meditate, calming breaths, do something you enjoy. Just because we take a break does not mean we don't care about what's happening, especially people of color who are really hurting right now. Make sure to take care of yourself first and foremost.
Absolutely. And this is a serious and real problem. And as a serious and real problem, we're going to do a lot better if all of us are in a good headspace and in good mental health so that we can fix the problem and all work on it together, right? If you do have the energy or you feel like you really want to get involved and do something, there are a few things you can do.
One of the things that you can do is attend the Anti-Racism Learning Circle, which is the program that I help facilitate. It happens on the second Thursday of each month from 5 to 6 p.m. on Zoom. Some of the topics are really heavy, but next month's topic is going to be really fun. It's going to be art and anti-racism. So if there's any sort of art form that you have seen or interacted with that has helped you understand how to be a better anti-racist, please do attend and share it with us. It tends to be a lot of adults at this program, which is great, but we could always use a lesson from someone a little younger.
Exactly. So you should get out there and learn. You can read books, you can listen to podcasts, you can listen to us if you want. You can go to your local library for other sources of information. And of course, you can go to the Anti-Racism Learning Circle on May 13th. And then you might even have the chance to become a little bit of a teacher to some grown-ups. Last thing to mention really quick before we go is we are working on a new segment where we hear from you about what you think about the news. So especially we want to hear what kids are thinking and what your opinions are. And when you notice if something is wrong, or if you have thoughts about something that we've already talked about or that we should talk about, or if you have thoughts about this very episode right here, right now, please write us a letter. You should send it to 1301 Sylvan Way in Bremerton, Washington, 98310, and we will be super excited to get a letter. And we are also working on a faster way for you to get us your opinions and your information about the news.
You might even get to see part of your letter read on the next video. So please send us some mail. But we want to say thank you to Priya for joining us today. It's been so great to have your expertise here.
Thank you.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching News Kids Can Use, the show about all the weird, wacky, and straight up strange things that have been making your grown-ups freak out about the news lately. We will be back in 2 weeks. I'm Emin Rogers.
I'm Tori Ogawa, and send us a letter, please. We want to hear from you.